Hello and welcome. You're watching News9. I'm Shweta Kothari. The top story that we are tracking at this hour, the Ethics Committee report recommending the expulsion of TMC MP Mahua Moitra in the case and the cash for query case is expected to be presented in the Lok Sabha today. Moitra has already reached the parliament and she remains defiant. Despite being listed on the agenda for 4th of December, it was not tabled. The opposition members are demanding a thorough discussion on the recommendations before a decision is taken on Moitra's expulsion. The government says it is up to the speaker to decide on the report.
हमारे बंगाली में एक पोएम है काजी नजरुल का অসত্যের কাছে কভু নত নাহি করো শির ভয় कापे कापुरुष लोड़े जाए वीर सो जब नाश मनुष्य पर छाता है पहले विवेक मर जाता है तो ये जो इन लोग वस्त्रहरण शुरू किए ना अब महाभारत का रन देखिएगा
कौन बोलेगा नहीं बोलेगा ये सब तो स्पीकर साहब तय करते हैं ना रूल यही कहता है तो स्पीकर साहब क्या करेंगे वो अभी से एंटीसिपेट कोई कर लिया तो हम उसके बारे में क्या प्रतिक्रिया देंगे मैंने यही कहा ना संविधान इसमें बहुत ही क्लियर है उस लोकसभा में क्या चलेगा क्या नहीं चलेगा इवन पार्टी यदि नाम देगी मेरा बोलने के लिए और स्पीकर साहब की सहमति नहीं होगी तो मैं नहीं बोल पाऊंगा स्पीकर साहब को हमने इतना अधिकार दिया इसी कारण से ये संविधान चल पा रहा है लोकसभा चल पा रही है तो पहले होने दीजिए ना इसके बाद सब चीजों का जवाब दूंगा मैं इसका क्या नतीजा हुआ है ये भी मैं रिपोर्ट पेश होने के बाद ही बता पाऊंगा
आगे की कार्रवाई स्पीकर साहब तय करेंगे कि वैसे रूल्स जो इसमें स्पष्ट है कि जो रूल्स 316 है उसमें आधे घंटे की चर्चा का भी उसमें उल्लेख है सारी चीजें उल्लेख है पहले रिपोर्ट तो ले होने दो उसके बाद हाउस में क्या कार्रवाई तय स्पीकर साहब करते हैं
कोई प्रपोजल लिया जाएगा लोकसभा में
देखिए ये मैंने कहा ना सब स्पीकर साहब तय करते हैं स्पीकर साहब के सामने जब ये रिपोर्ट वो अनाउंस करेंगे और आज शायद विनोद सोनकर जी के नाम से ही लगी हुई है जहां तक बिजनेस में मैंने देखा है तो वो पेश करेंगे और जैसे पटल पे पेश हो जाएगी उसके बाद उस रिपोर्ट में क्या है कितने पेज की है क्या लिखा हुआ है क्या रिकमेंडेशन है उसका सदस्यगण अध्ययन करेंगे उसके बाद चर्चा का कोई टाइम तय होगा वो स्पीकर साहब ही तय करेंगे
Following content may contain visuals that are disturbing, graphic, or sensitive in nature. Viewer discretion is advised. This material is intended for mature audiences and may not be suitable for all viewers. Please exercise caution while watching, and if you find such content distressing, we recommend discontinuing viewing. This disclaimer is provided to ensure awareness and to prioritize viewer well-being.
And the war between Israel and Hamas has now entered its 63rd day. Let's get you the latest update from the war front. US has now said that the gap between Israel's intent to protect civilians and reality on ground is different. There is a gap, in fact, between what Israel is saying and is actually doing on the ground. Israel continues heavy bombardment of the Gaza Strip. Israeli defense forces are carrying out raids across the West Bank as we speak. IDF says it killed 2 senior officials of the Hamas intelligence division this week. Joe Biden has spoken to Netanyahu over call, stressing on the requirements of more aid to Gaza. Israel-hamas not close to another deal on the new humanitarian pause, the White House has said, and Israel's attack on the Palestinian-run Gaza Strip amount to genocide, Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi has now said. Netanyahu has warned Hezbollah against escalating the fighting. Israel has announced that it had attacked dozens of targets as it engages with Hamas terrorists in the Gaza Strip, largest city in and around Gaza as of Thursday. Multiple explosions were heard in the Gaza Strip from southern Israel and smoke billowed from the ruins of buildings in the Palestine enclave. Israel's incursion into Khan Yunis followed a ground operation in Gaza City in the north to eliminate Hamas terrorists who had attacked Israel and taken hostages on 7th of October. An Israeli army on Thursday released footage of claiming and showing operations against Hamas terrorists in the Gaza Strip. The video included Israeli soldiers on the ground and aerial footage of explosion. Israel said on Thursday that it has killed a number of gunmen in the southern Gaza's largest city, Khan Yunis, including 2 terrorists who emerged firing from a tunnel a day after Israeli troops entered the heart of the city. Gaza's health officials said an Israeli airstrike has killed 4 people in a refugee camp in central Gaza Strip overnight, and another strike killed 2 people in Khan Yunis on Thursday morning. Israel's closest ally, the United States, has expressed concerns over the situation in Gaza. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that there is a gap between Israel's intent to protect civilians in Gaza and what has been happening on the ground. He made these remarks at a news conference in Washington after a meeting with the UK's Foreign Secretary David Cameron. Blinken said that it remains imperative that Israel puts a premium on civilian protection. However, he also added that there is a gap indeed between exactly what I said when I was there, which is the intent to protect civilians, and the actual results that we are seeing on the ground. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has issued a warning to Beirut, saying that it would be left devastated like Gaza if Lebanon-based Hezbollah started a war. During a visit to the troops at the border with Lebanon, Netanyahu said, and I quote, "If Hezbollah chooses to start an all-out war, then it will be by its own hand, turn Beirut and southern Lebanon not far from here into Gaza and Khan Yunis," unquote. A guided missile attack from Lebanon killed a 60-year-old farmer in northern Israel's public broadcaster, Khan said.
If Hezbollah chooses to start an all-out war, then it will by its own hand turn Beirut and southern Lebanon, not far from here, into Gaza and Khan Yunis.
And on Thursday, people in Gaza were seen digging through rubble and searching for bodies following Israel's strike on Rafah refugee camp in southern part of the Gaza Strip. Gazans were searching under smashed concrete in order to find those still missing from the strikes earlier on Thursday. Israeli troops were engaged in battle with Hamas in the largest city in the southern Gaza, while thousands of displaced civilians sought shelter near Egypt in a desolated seaside area of the enclave. Israeli forces earlier this week encircled the Gaza house of top Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar as they advanced for the first time to the heart of the biggest city in the enclave's south. Take a look.
Israeli forces said on Wednesday they had surrounded the house of Hamas's leader as they battled Palestinian militants in the heart of South Gaza's biggest city. In a statement on Wednesday evening, Israel's military said its troops were carrying out, quote, target raids in central Khan Yunis for the first time. It also released footage said to show its operations there, though Reuters was not able to independently verify the location or when it was filmed. In a video message, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israeli forces had encircled the house of Hamas leader Yahya al-Sinwar in the city.
His house may not be his fortress and he can escape, but it's only a matter of time before we get him.
Meanwhile, the situation is getting increasingly difficult for civilians. Tragic scenes like this one continue to emerge, with these children sobbing after their father was wounded when Israeli forces bombed a school in eastern Khan Yunis. Gaza's health ministry has said more than 16,000 have died in the war, while local medics said hospitals were overflowing with the dead and wounded. About 8 miles south of Khan Yunis, tens of thousands have been cramming into the city of Rafah on the border with Egypt after Israeli forces told them they would be safe there. But a house was struck on Wednesday, killing at least 15 people, according to Rafah officials. Hundreds of thousands of people displaced from North Gaza by the war are desperately seeking shelter, while the number of places in the south marked as safe by Israel shrinks. On Wednesday, United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres made a rare move to formally warn the Security Council of a global threat from the Gaza war. He invoked a special UN rule to push for a ceasefire in a letter to the Council, saying the enclave faces, quote, a severe risk of collapse of the humanitarian system. The United Arab Emirates drafted a resolution to the Council demanding an immediate humanitarian ceasefire with a vote sought on Friday. But the United States, one of 5 veto powers on the 15-member Council, is opposed to a ceasefire, saying it would only benefit Hamas.
And around 800 high school students from across Israel traveled to Tel Aviv on Thursday to decorate the menorahs on the eve of the Hanukkah in honor of the hostages still in Gaza. The students wrote and designed messages on the wooden stars of David, on which they placed candles and pictures of the hostages still in Hamas's captivity. They also released balloons into the sky above Tel Aviv. The country marked Hanukkah, the first Jewish festival since 7th of October. And flares were seen over the night sky in Gaza as Israel continued its fight against Hamas's terrorists in the Gaza Strip on Thursday. Some distant radiances in the horizon lit up the night sky for a brief moment amid sounds of loud bangs heard from across the border in southern Israel. Residents reported fierce battle going on in east of Khan Yunis. Palestinian health officials said that 3 Gazans were killed in an Israeli airstrike on a house in Deir al-Balah in central Gaza. Among other stories that we are tracking, Hunter Biden is facing 9 tax charges in California, escalating a special counsel investigation into the president's son amid the approaching 2024 elections. These new charges supplement existing federal firearms charge in Delaware related to a 2018 gun law violation. Now, previously anticipated to plead guilty to misdemeanor tax charges for unpaid taxes to the tune of $4 million in personal income from 2017 to 18, Hunter Biden's defense signals a fight against the latest charges. The plea deal collapsed in July, criticized by Republicans as the sweetheart deal amid comprehensive scrutiny of Hunter Biden's business dealings and the Justice Department's case handling. German Interior Minister Nancy Faeser, in a meeting with regional leaders to address heightened security concerns leading up to Christmas, has said and expressed that the Israel-Hamas conflict has substantially resulted in increased threat to terrorist attacks in Germany. Listen in.
Mulled wine, sugary treats, and anti-terrorist bollards. German Christmas markets are alive again, but with an added edge. Authorities are on high alert after police arrested 2 teenagers who they say were plotting an attack.
He and another accused from Brandenburg are said to have been planning an Islamist-motivated attack on a Christmas market in Leverkusen at the beginning of December. The 2 wanted to detonate a small truck using fuel and thereby kill visitors to the Christmas market.
Terror expert Malta Roshinsky says the potential suspects are getting younger.
The daily language fitness space. What a key factor is the radicalization through certain social media that are being quite often and frequently used by these types of people who are fairly young, who are in their teens, basically, and they use these social media like TikTok, for example, and certain Telegram channels, certain other social media. And these social media do quite have a big influence on the radicalization cycles of these young people.
German intelligence agencies and the Interior Minister have warned that events in the Middle East are playing a role.
We have an increased risk situation, but I attribute that to the fact that the Middle East conflict is also playing a role here on the streets at the moment, that there is a lot of hate speech on the internet, and I can only encourage everyone to report it even if they notice something like that online.
The warnings, nor the weather though, appear to have dampened the festive spirit. Crowds packed into the world-famous Nuremberg Christmas market to watch the Christkind angel formally start the party.
I am not going to let it spoil my mood now. I think Nuremberg is such a great traditional market where you might have to be prepared for attacks.
Yeah, you think about it for a moment, but you quickly tune it out again.
Not so easy for visitors to the Christmas market in Berlin, where memories of the 2016 truck attack that left 12 people dead still linger on.
And moving on, Italy has officially informed China that it is leaving the Belt and Road Initiative BRI, dismissing fears that the decision could sour relation and damage the Italian economy. Without signalling out Italy, China's foreign minister reacted to the news, emphasizing the enormous appeal and the global influence of the Belt and Road Initiative, while firmly opposing efforts to, and I quote, smear and undermine BRI and the efforts made by Chinese government so far. Listen in.
Italy has officially told China it is leaving the Belt and Road Initiative. That's according to government sources on Wednesday. Italy became the first and so far the only major Western nation to join the trade and investment program, ignoring warnings from the United States that it might allow China to take control of sensitive and vital infrastructure. However, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni said when she took office last year that she wanted to withdraw from the deal. She said it had brought no significant gains to Italy. The 2019 accord expires in March 2024. An Italian government source said Rome would not be renewing the pact. China's Foreign Ministry's spokesperson Wang Wenbin told reporters on Thursday that the Belt and Road has enormous appeal and global influence, without singling out Italy for criticism.
China firmly opposes smearing and undermining cooperation in developing the Belt and Road Initiative and opposes confrontation and creating division among the camps.
More than 100 countries have signed agreements with China to cooperate on Belt and Road Initiative since it was launched in 2013.
And Greece and Turkey, long-time adversaries, aim to forge a new chapter of improved relations during a significant visit of the Turkish president to Greece on Thursday. Both nations committed to fostering friendly ties and addressing long-standing challenges, particularly in the Aegean Sea.
Historical foes Greece and Turkey hope to usher in a new era of closer ties. In a landmark visit of Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan to Greece on Thursday, they agreed to pursue good neighbourly relations and work on obstacles that have kept them apart, especially in the Aegean Sea. By their acrimonious standards, Thursday's summit was a remarkable love fest without precedents. It went on longer than expected. Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis addressed Erdogan as Dear Tayyip, and Erdogan said he expected to receive Mitsotakis in Ankara. This was Erdogan on Thursday.
We want to turn the Aegean into a sea of peace and cooperation. As Turkey-Greece, we want to set an example to the whole world with the mutual steps we will take. I'm saying this openly. There is no problem between us that cannot be solved.
It was a far cry from his last visit in 2017, when both sides reeled off a litany of grievances stretching back to the crumbling days of the Ottoman Empire over a century ago. Chile relations thawed markedly after Greece swiftly dispatched aid in the wake of a devastating earthquake in Turkey in February. The two neighbours, who went to the brink of war in the 1990s, have long been at odds over issues including where their continental shelves start and end, energy resources, flights over the Aegean Sea and the ethnically partitioned island of Cyprus.
And a powerful explosion at an explosive store wreaked havoc in an industrial zone on Seychelles' main island Mahé, causing extensive damage and prompting President Wavel Ramakavalan to declare a state of emergency on Thursday. The blast, compounded by heavy rains and flooding, resulted in widespread destruction, with streets covered in mud, debris and uprooted trees. Take a look.
This is the aftermath of a blast at an explosive store on an industrial zone on the Seychelles' main island, Mai. President Wavel Ramkalawan declared a state of emergency on Thursday. He was seen visiting the injured at a hospital after the explosion. The blast shook the island as heavy rains triggered flooding. Streets on the island were covered in deep mud and strewn with debris and uprooted trees. The president's office put out a statement asking everyone to stay at home. All schools will be closed and only workers in the essential services and persons travelling will be allowed free movement, the statement added. The government's official Visit Seychelles account on X said the international airport and ferries between its islands remained operational for tourists. The Seychelles is a major tourist destination. The country is made up of 115 islands and is the least populous country in Africa, with about 100,000 people.
And with that, it's a wrap on the show. We'll be back after a very short break.
China won't let us rest easy on our borders, but they will keep flooding our markets. What does Xi Jinping really want?
I think he wants the Indian market, no doubt about it. It's really a matter of showing their dominance.
India's great Chinese conundrum.
Nobody can contain it. Not the United States, not China, not anybody else.
Frenemies. This and more. Streaming on the world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
Hello everyone, Namaskar. I'm music composer Ricky Cage. 3-time Grammy Award winner and a United Nations Goodwill Ambassador. And you're watching me on First Person on News9 Plus.
This and more streaming now on the world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
They picked my husband. He was tortured there for 2 years. He was enforced disappeared. We had no idea where he is. Within 15 minutes, we got the information that the whole area is surrounded by Pakistan Army. I came out from that in disguise, and after 5 to 6 hours, I was in Kandahar. I don't have any message for Pakistan. There is no politician in Pakistan. They are puppets of Pakistan Army.
Streaming now. This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
Delhi has the fastest growing metro network among G20 nations. From 6 stations in 2002, it today has 286 stations. Reliability, cleanliness and affordability have set the template for other Indian